front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal. It is Sunday, October 6, 2013, and I am protesting against a variety of Unitarian Universalist injustices, abuses, and indeed hypocrisies. Today's emphasis is on the fact that 16 months ago, in early June of 2012, the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations down in Boston had Stikeman Elliott, barristers and solicitors litigation lawyer, Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe, have me served with a cease and desist demand letter that, amongst other highly questionable accusations, accused me of the archaic crime of blasphemous libel for allegedly making, and here's an exact quote from the letter, basically I was accused of making unfounded and vicious allegations to the effect that ministers of the association engage in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. And the letter went on to say that such unfounded and vicious allegations were defamatory, and indeed defamatory to the extent that they amounted to blasphemous libel. Now, quite frankly, although I've certainly heard about blasphemy and blasphemy laws, I had not heard of specifically blasphemous libel, and I was not even aware at that point that Canada had a blasphemy law. But a little bit of research showed that Canada does in fact have a blasphemy law. The last time anyone was prosecuted was in 1936, in the dirty 30s as it were. So here we are, 80 years later almost. We got 21st century Unitarian Universalists basically threatening to have me charged with the archaic crime of blasphemous libel for allegedly making unfounded and vicious allegations about Unitarian Universalist ministers engaging in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. And of course the key word and all that legalistic bluster, courtesy of Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe, is unfounded. The few allegations that I've actually made about Unitarian Universalists engaging in such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape are by no means unfounded. They are entirely true based on news reports that I read, unless the news reports themselves are false, which I doubt. The claims that I'm making about certain Unitarian Universalists, one of whom, by the way, wasn't even a minister. In fact, most ironically, the one Unitarian Universalist who I specifically described as a pedophile rapist because he had in fact been convicted of raping preteen girls, including a female family member. He was not even a Unitarian Universalist minister, to the best of my knowledge. So here we have the Unitarian Universalist Association accusing me of the archaic crime of blasphemous libel on the unfounded basis that I am making unfounded and vicious allegations about Unitarian Universalist ministers specifically committing such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape. So the one Unitarian Universalist who I described as a pedophile rapist, because that's exactly what he was not even a minister. Which does not mean to say that some Unitarian Universalist ministers have not engaged in such despicable crime, well, the despicable crime known as pedophilia, whether they raped someone or not. It is a fact that a certain number of Unitarian Universalist ministers specifically have engaged in that despicable crime known as pedophilia. And above and beyond that, a certain number of Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers, also known as religious educators, have also engaged in the despicable crime known as pedophilia. And in fact, actually the one that I know about who was convicted of basically homosexual rape of a young boy who he had adopted, we're talking about a Sunday school teacher here, I guess that's not quite pedophilia because the boy, when the rapes took place, was in his teens, so perhaps not pedophilia, but certainly rape. it is just beyond belief, to borrow a phrase from UUA President, Reverend Peter Morales, that the Unitarian Universalist Association in the 21st century would accuse anyone of the crime of blasphemous libel for any reason whatsoever. But to falsely accuse someone of blasphemy, any form of blasphemy, blasphemous libel or otherwise, in an effort to cover up and hide the fact that a certain number of Unitarian Universalist ministers, and we will extend it beyond that to religious educators, Sunday school teachers, actually have been convicted of engaging in such crimes as pedophilia and rape. And let's face it, for every conviction, there's probably a number of cases where the person was not even convicted. There's probably cases where no complaint was ever made. So it is just ludicrous for the Unitarian Universalist Association in the 21st century to misuse and abuse Canada's blasphemy law in an attempt to force me to cover up and hide, well, not me, they're the ones covering up and hiding, but they're trying to force me to delete, take down, also known as memory hole, blog posts about Unitarian Universalists who actually were convicted of engaging in either rape of teenage girls or rape of preteen girls, which I think is reasonably described as the person who did it is a pedophile rapist. It's unfortunate that it's come to this situation, to be polite. And yes, it kind of sucks, doesn't it? This is definitely perversion of justice, Lance Armstrong-style legal bullying engaged in by the Unitarian Universal Association of Congregations, and also Lance Armstrong, that'd be a good name for a law firm. No, Stikeman Elliott, barristers and solicitors, who, most ironically, have as one of their barristers, or solicitors, or both, one Richard Pound, also known as Dick Pound, who is famous for going after people like Lance Armstrong for doping, and who must be aware of how Lance Armstrong has brought false claims of libel against people. So here we have a law firm, who really should know better, and apparently